will be Charles Dosey. Charles is Managing Director for APAC for ConsenSys. Charles?
Thanks a lot. It's good to be back in real live and events here. I've seen you on Zoom way too many times. So good to be here. I look forward to the panels and also the gathering after that. I will share with you a few thoughts on. I guess the slide will come up. Perfect. Thank you. A few thoughts on how the Hong Kong ecosystem has been growing on blockchain from the eyes of ConsenSys, and see a little bit how it's going forward as well. A few words about ConsenSys. We are one of the world's largest blockchain engineering company, 3 audiences, developers, enterprise, governments. What we do essentially is we abstract the complexity of blockchain systems and make it consumable by enterprise and developers in general. You will recognize some logos here. We are the company behind MetaMask. So I guess some of you are using MetaMask today. It's a product of ConsenSys with more than 30 million users today. It has been also deployed into an institutional version of MetaMask. So if you are a trader or hedge fund, there is a specially designed MetaMask version for you. But we are also behind Truffle, one of the world's largest smart contract development software platform, as well as Infura, which is a kind of an engine for all the world of EVM and layer 2s. We've been working with a lot of different customers and being their partners for their journey within the world of blockchain. So I guess the logos here are talking for themselves, but you see some crypto-native companies, you see some governments, some regulators, some central banks, but you see also some consortiums building some blockchain business networks, which are very interesting to see. Comgo in the world of oil, or Covantis for agricultural commodities space. What we've seen also, and what I've seen, and all of us have been witness of this expansion of the Hong Kong investor. And I think Gian with Kinetic is one of the examples amongst many. And to see how the Hong Kong investors are essentially capturing and expanding via their investment. I highlight here ConsenSys because it's a company I work for. We've been raising recently $450 million US. And among the core investors and supporters of the company, what I want to highlight here is the Hong Kong pioneers, which are essentially joining us and supporting ConsenSys in our international growth. Among them, you will see some familiar logos, such as HSBC, Animoca, one of the giants of the NFT world, also being a Hong Kong company, Spartan Capital, C Ventures. So I guess what the point I want to illustrate here is really the fact that Hong Kong is at the heart of this industry, even though if you look at it from the global perspective. What is very interesting also for us at ConsenSys is to look how the GBA and how Hong Kong is playing this central role. Under Secretary Chan was mentioning the MCBDC bridge, which is essentially a project which was led by ConsenSys on the technical side of things, and thinking of how many CBDC projects you see globally and how many of them are really essentially so collaborative as they are here in Hong Kong, thinking of 4 different central banks working together to build this decentralized platform and this essentially platform for doing cross-border business. So that's really interesting to see how blockchain and the Ethereum technology is deployed in a way that it fits as well central banks, and it fits as well numerous use cases for more than 18 banks. So you see some logos here. I guess the point here is really to show how Hong Kong has been leading since 2016 the topic of blockchain through DLTs and blockchain and permission blockchain and probably some other topics later on, and how essentially it's really accelerating all the ecosystem with it. We've been delivering a few projects here in Hong Kong also. One of them was a timely one at the beginning of the COVID crisis with a project together with the Chinese university, project called Medoxy, helping essentially the medical workers to be able to document and port their vaccination credential and COVID test credentials from one facility to another so that they could work better. We are also a very proud supporter and partner of BSN. I think we had some very early conversations with Ifan, with the team of BSN, and we clearly fit on many topics, such as the deployment of the Ethereum technologies, the application layers, the infrastructure, should it be for the domestic market in China, but also for the international space. So we are very excited about this collaboration. I think BSN brings a set of value propositions which are very unique. It was described earlier by Gian, and it makes sense for us to look at how the technology, especially the Ethereum technology, which we focus on, could be deployed in many different contexts in different ways as well. There is some works also involving Hong Kong, which are more regional, and that's where you see a lot of different companies and players from the blockchain space being involved. ConsenSys is working with the Asian Development Bank, along with some other technology providers, essentially helping to build a blockchain network prototype for central banks' cross-border securities transaction. So it's a very interesting and complex mix of stakeholders here, looking at how the central banks, the depository for securities, and some of the members from the capital market can really look at essentially built on the dynamics built by CBDCs, for example, here in Hong Kong with the M-Bridge. A more lighter touch, a little bit of advertising, even though I'm not selling the book, really it's more kind of a fundraising exercise. BlockKong, it's a much more lighter and fun way for you to update yourself on who are the early champions and the early contributors to the blockchain space. It's a project I've been working on for the past 2 years. The book was launched last April now. And essentially, it's 21 interviews with 21 blockchain entrepreneurs around 21 different breakfasts. So it's very light, it's non-technical, and what I wanted to do during this kind of journey of writing this book together with my partner in crime, James DiBiaso from Ditchfin, was to document the journey of all these different blockchain entrepreneurs. 21 is a number I picked because it's a lucky number in our industry, obviously, and I needed to stop at some point this book, which could have been an encyclopedia, so much there is people and interesting journeys. But I really invite you to dive into this ecosystem of Hong Kong, discover some people you might have seen, but not really get to understand their journey in the space. You can buy the book at Bookazine, you can buy the book online, and I will be also sitting at the exit of the room, signing a few books. Thanks a lot for having me.